Good morning, and thank you for joining us for the Escambia Children's Trust Board of Directors meeting. This meeting is being called to order at 9 a.m. Please turn off all cell phones or set them to silent mode. Public comment forms can be found on the table to the left of the podium. If you have any public comments, please complete a form and turn it in to Ms. Alma. Ms. Alma, can you please proceed with roll call?
Tori Woods,
Present.
David Williams,
Present.
David Peden,
Here.
Dr. Northup, Keith Leonard,
Present.
Tina Kane, Commissioner May, Judge Harris,
Present.
Stephanie White.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Judge Harris, could you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If everyone has had time to review the agenda, can I please get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Some of you may have noticed we have a new face up here today. We have Mr. David Williams of the Escambia County School Board. Mr. Williams will be taking Ms. Hightower's place on the ECT board. Thank you. We would like to welcome him. Did you want to say anything this morning?
No, just glad to be here and looking forward to continuing the work that Ms. Hightower has started here with the trust fund. So
Thank
glad to
you.
be here.
Thank you so much. So we are moving on to the recommendations. Staff recommends the board approve the minutes of the September 12, 2023 regular board meeting as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. That passes. The staff recommends the board approve the minutes from the September 12, 2023 preliminary trim and budget hearing.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Next, we have the staff recommends the board approve the minutes from the September 26, 2023 final trim and budget hearing. May I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, so that passes. And we now have Mr. Peden with the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You'll see in your packet the financials from our last months and throughout the year. Ms. Abrams continues to do a very good job with our finances and accounting. The Finance Committee met just a few weeks ago. We reviewed the budget and where we are, and you can see in your packet that there are no unusual or abnormal transactions conducted during this month. And without objection, the financial statement will be filed with an audit if there aren't any questions.
No questions?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. We now have Ms. Mona, Ms. Mona with ID Group to present the strategic plan to the board for approval. Ms. Mona?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Wait, everyone gets here. It's a team, right? It's not just me. So. Okay, great. So it's an exciting day. We are here today to really share with you the results of research that we've conducted over the last 8 months and some recommendations for next steps. Jim Sparks from ID Group is here today, and he will be part of this process along with the ECT staff members. As we move through this process, if you could just jot down questions, comments you might have, and at the end of the presentation, we'll come back and address anything you'd like to share, be there questions or comments. In front of you, you should see a printed version of the plan and research. We've also distributed that to staff members. There will be an electronic version of this posted via the Escambia Children's Trust website, so that will be available to everyone. So our assignment in working with the Escambia Children's Trust was to guide the development of a 3-year strategic plan using the ID group from the core stakeholder engagement process. This process involved, 1, gathering insights from people across the multiple data points across the community, gathering contextual data. No organization operates in a vacuum, so it was extremely important for us to understand that context that this organization operates in. We also were responsible for analyzing all the data that we collected and shaping what we learned into 3 deliverables. 1, the Escambia Children's Trust identity map. The second is the identity narrative. And the third is a roadmap for shaping and living the story through the integral strategic plan. So that's what we will be looking at today. Something that I think is equally important for us to keep our eye on, and that we kept our eye on through this research process, is that strategic plans are designed to move an organization to the next level. Thus, an important part of beginning a strategic plan is to understand where an organization is in that developmental cycle. As we worked through the beginning stages of working with the trust, it was very clear that this organization is in its infancy. It is in the early stages of development. And just like in human development, you can't expect an organization to run if they're not walking. So our focus through this process was on ensuring that the strategic plan provides a very strong foundation for the future development of this organization. So as we go through this, just keep that in mind. You're young, and there's lots of room to grow here. So let's take a very quick look, I promise I won't belabor this, at what we did through this research process, looking at the key data points. So we kicked off this process in April with the establishment of what we define as a design team. This design team consisted of the ECT staff and a representative of your board, which happened to be your board chair. These people walked side by side with us through this process. Everything from helping get the word out about the dialogue sessions and the town halls to really acting as sounding boards with us as we moved through this process. I really want to thank this team. They stood with us. Thank you through the ups and downs, right? And they were there and did some excellent, excellent work. So we really do appreciate the hard work that everyone put into this process. So one of the other first things we did was, as I said, the contextual research. And what this does is it creates, again, the framework of understanding. This organization wasn't born when we started the process. So we needed to understand its history. We needed to understand the strategic process that you had gone through previously. We needed to understand the working context of what is a children's trust, what are the legalities of it. So all of that framing was part of what we did. We also did a brand sentiment survey to sort of gauge perception of the trust in the community. So those are some of the contextual things. This was not a one hit, right? This kind of happened over the stages of the research. So we kicked off our stakeholder aspect of this with a leadership survey and leadership dialogue. We did that in June. We believe in our process that the answers are in the room. Our job is not to tell organizations what to do, but rather to help ask really great questions so they begin to uncover those questions. We believe when you ask people questions that are meaningful and important to them, if we get different perspectives, we end up with a much richer perspective of actions, inspired actions that will help move an organization forward. So in June, as I said, we brought together the leadership in a dialogue process. We also did a survey, and again, the contextual research that we had done. We brought all of that together to inform the subsequent stages of this research process. So what we learned there was used to develop the stakeholder dialogue. This was an amazing meeting because it really brought together people in this community who have spent their lives committed to the welfare of children in our community. The amount of experience, the depth of knowledge, and the wisdom they shared with us was very important in kind of developing what we're sharing with you today. In August, we reached out across the community to offer interested citizens the opportunity to weigh in with their hopes and dreams for the future of ECT. And these are some of the locations and people. It was quite, it said, the answers are in the room. There's other part of this that says the best answers aren't always found behind the biggest desk. So reaching out into the community provided a very, very good data point for us. From there, we had all this data. We analyzed that, we synthesized that, and put together our findings that we shared with the ECT design team. Working collaboratively with them through multiple meetings, we created a draft plan. The draft plan was then shared in individual interviews with the board members to give them an opportunity to weigh in on where we were in our process. From there, the ID group team took all the information and shaped the draft strategic plan that included the identity map, which basically answers the question, who are we? The narrative, which is the organization's story, and the integral strategic plan. And the way we like to explain this is you have a story, but strategy is what bridges story to action. So that's the way we did this. So let's take a look at what we learned about who this organization is and how it wants to move to the next level. So this is the identity map. This represents the levels, if you think of them as storylines that make up how the organization sees itself and wants to be seen by others. For purposes of time today, I'm going to focus on the core and the organization drivers because the expression is really going to be contained in the narrative that you will hear from the staff. So the information, all the information is in the report, so we're not leaving any details, but just because of time, I want to move through this. So at the core of all organizations lies its purpose. Why was it founded? Why is it here? And so that's really what we need to have a lot of clarity about. And as we look at this identity map, you say, well, why do we do this? Well, because when you bring individuals together in an organization, you need to have some kind of collective focus about who we are, what we do, and why the world should care. And so these individual storylines are designed to help the organization find a point of agreement. And remember, all of what I'm presenting to you emerged from the data, analyzed through a thematic process, and then presented back here as you're seeing it here today. So again, purpose lives at the core of who this organization is, and so it really reflects the deep motivations of why an organization was founded. So the purpose statement as it emerged from this research process is this organization's purpose is working together to improve the lives of children. A very simple but bold statement. Values are the fundamental truths of an organization. Once again, living at the core of the organization. They serve as the foundation for beliefs that guide behaviors and decisions. As we move through these values, you will see they are written as values in action. And what I mean by that, we believe, therefore we do. So the statement has two points to it. There are 3 core values that emerge through this research process. So let me share those with you. The first is integrity. We believe our children deserve an uncompromising champion dedicated to helping them thrive. Therefore, we steadfastly commit to honest, empathetic, and ethical decision-making that places children at the center of all we do. The second value, we believe we are responsible for being good stewards of the financial investment the community is making in the trust. Therefore, we will ensure our actions achieve measurable progress by continuously assessing, sharing, and improving the performance of our organization and the programs we support. Value number 3, solution-focused. We believe every challenge presents an opportunity to make things better. Therefore, we commit to working collaboratively to identify and implement evidence-based best practices and creative solutions. We address the circumstances faced by children in our community with an empathetic understanding of the obstacles that may impede their opportunity to thrive. So those, again, define really, if you will, the spirit of this organization. So the next rung that's up there is called the organization drivers. This includes vision, mission, unique value proposition, archetype, and aspirational reputation. When we talk about drivers, what we mean by that is these are the drivers of the organization's success, where the purpose and the values provide direction. This is what the organization's success is built upon and defined by. These drivers become then kind of central to the strategic planning objectives, or not objectives, but areas of focus that you will see. So the ECT vision, all children in Escambia County will have better lives and greater opportunities for success because of the community's investment in the work of the Trust and its partners. And as you all know, vision is that long-term view. You know your job here, and the vision here is a big one, and it's not going to happen overnight. But this is where this organization says, when we get there, when we get there, we have done our jobs and we can all go home. The next statement is your mission statement. A mission statement very simply says this is what the organization commits to do. Mission really is the driving force toward that vision. So it is what the organization says, this is what we are committed to doing. The mission statement that emerged from this process is the Escambia Children's Trust invest in our community's future through support of high-quality children's programs and services, research, education, and advocacy. So those are the primary things that this organization's mission is built around. So unique value proposition, also called UVP, defines the organization, what really makes this organization different from others. It is what you offer that others cannot. The unique value proposition, as it's stated here, we close the opportunity gaps by connecting the dots across children's services system. Right? We foster high-quality outcomes by leveraging our expertise and the community's investment through collaborative action among all who share our commitment to leveling the playing field for children across Escambia County. Unique value proposition, in many ways, delivers on an ROI, right? All organizations, be it for-profit or not-for-profit, have a responsibility for the ROI. And so this is some of the things that this organization feels it can do better, and why, if you weren't here, it would matter. You matter because of this. Okay, archetype. Organizations are continuing stories, right? You are a continuing story. You are an evolving story. What we from an archetype, and the reason we work with this is this. In movies and in novels, archetypes are used in character development. Certain actions and attitudes allows us to quickly categorize the story's characters as the hero, the villain, the magician. Think about it. Think about the stories that you know and how those characters are intentionally developed. When we're working with organizations, it's great that you do great work, but you also have to communicate, to build a perception about who you are. And you don't do that accidentally. You do that with intention. And so in organizational storytelling, characteristics of archetypes are used to communicate assumptions, attitudes, and the personality traits of an organization's culture. Okay? It's how do we explain what this is all about? You know, and that's part of the way we do it in storytelling is by the utilization of archetypes. As we listened and learned about the Children's Trust, 3 archetypes really emerged, one being the dominant one and the other characteristics being supporting. So the primary archetype of this organization that I think just landed, right, from what we heard, is that the archetype of the conductor is somebody who, an organization, these are organization archetypes, that demonstrates leadership, orchestrates complex situations, and uses their influence to make things work better. The conductor organizations are most successful when they are making a decision which benefits others when they exercise power to create positive impact. Sound like somebody you know? The primary archetype of this conductor is supported by some other characteristics I think you will also recognize. The hero is known for inspiring those around them and digging in when things get hard. The hero is always willing to fight for the underdog. The research and analytical side of the trust is communicated through the SAGE archetype, which puts a premium on learning and using their methodological, and objective nature to understand the world. The aspirational reputation in all organizations. Reputation is your most valuable asset. A long time to earn it. It is earned through careful choreography of aligning what you say with what you do and what your intentions are. So all of what I've just shared with you represent the intentions of this organization, mission, vision, purpose, values, right? Well, your actions and the performance and what you communicate have to come together. So what is the aspirational reputation this organization wants to be known for? Escambia Children's Trust is a respected leader, inclusive collaborator, and trusted steward of resources known for orchestrating transformational impact for the children in Escambia County. Again, reputation is something that is developed over time, and it is earned through alignment of who you intend to be with your actions and your words. And the reason I'm telling you this, guys, is that all of this is what guided the integral strategic plan that you're going to see. So this is great, right? These are beautiful words, but what do you do, right? What do you do? And that's what the strategic plan is going to do for you. So these are your storylines. These are the things that make up, in essence, your intentions, why you're here, what you believe in, what you stand for, and the impact that you want to make. What we do with this is we bring these storylines together to create the Escambia Children's Trust story. We call this the narrative because this is an internal statement of belief and of purpose, and it's a powerful story. And I thought it appropriate, or we thought it appropriate, that the staff present this story to you. So I'll turn this over to them and let them share the Escambia Children's Trust story. Thank you, Mona.
So we are steadfast champions of the children in our community. Standing united, Escambia Children's Trust is a symbol that we can and we will build a brighter future for our children. We have a great responsibility to that future, where all children in our community will have brighter lives and greater opportunities for success.
Through our support of evidence-based, high-quality children's programs and services, research, education, and advocacy, we orchestrate transformative outcomes that benefit our children and, in turn, the future of our community. It is this demonstrated commitment that earns us the reputation as a respected leader, inclusive collaborator, and trusted steward of resources.
Our forward-thinking spirit and empathetic attitude motivates us as we engage in meaningful dialogue to understand the needs of those we serve. We prioritize trust as we tirelessly work with fairness and transparency to assemble a mosaic of solutions for children who have to fight a little harder to reach their full potential.
As system optimizers, dot connectors, and solution finders, we remove barriers, close opportunity gaps, and improve the flow of communication and resources to strengthen the impact of our partners. We believe in collaboratively addressing challenges through innovation while continuously assessing, sharing, and improving our performance. Our dedicated team ensures our deep well of resources is structurally sound and sustainable for generations to come.
The approval of the Children's Trust was a watershed moment for the children of Escambia County, a turning point that will make a difference today and for future generations. Every investment matters, every child matters, every future matters to all of us.
So that is the Escambia Children's Trust story. It's our story. So now we turn to bridging the story and strategy. So how will we bring this story to life and live it in the day-to-day actions of our organization? We do this through our integral strategic plan, the roadmap that translates our story into performance and perception strategies aimed at building a relevant, trusted, and respected organization reputation. The integral strategic planning model serves as the outline for the strategic plan we are sharing today. It shows how the organization's identity is cascaded through each of the areas of strategic focus into the statements of intention, the goals, the key performance indicators, and drivers. Those drivers then guide the development of the objectives and the actions which bring the story of the organization to life. The Escambia Children's Trust strategic plan covers 6 areas of strategic focus which emerged from the research as critical to the success of the organization over the next 3 years. We have provided the board with the full above-the-line plan through the drivers. The objectives have been provided to each of the board committees for review. And now we'd like to bring the staff members back up to share each of the areas of strategic focus, and they're going to share with you the intention, the goals which will get us there, and the key performance indicators we'll use to measure progress on these wonderful areas of strategic focus.
Thank you. Area of strategic focus number 1 is unified leadership. Escambia Children's Trust leadership will demonstrate unified support for advancing the mission and values of the trust. We will achieve this by aligning our performance around our mission, roles, responsibilities, empowering informed decision-making, and enhancing organizational expertise. We will track progress toward achieving these goals by measuring leadership unity and stability. Our target is 90% correlation between internal and external perception and between internal and external perception of unity and stability of the leadership. Our data source will be a short perception survey distributed at board meetings for leadership and public participants. We will measure this quarterly and report on it annually.
The area of strategic focus number 2 is high-quality outcomes for all children. Escambia Children's Trust will direct efforts and funding toward measurable outcomes that close opportunity gaps. We will achieve this by targeting investments to achieve high-priority outcomes, supporting inclusive participation in funding opportunities, and ensuring accountability for funded organizations. We will measure this and track progress toward achieving these goals by measuring progress on the needs assessment. Our target is 90% of providers achieving performance measures. Our data sources are accountability reports from funded projects. Frequency of reporting, we will measure this quarterly and report annually.
The area of strategic focus number 3 is continuous learning and improvement. Escambia Children's Trust will embrace a multifaceted approach to driving organizational learning and continuous improvement. We will achieve this through the promotion of evidence-based practices and the strengthening of children's service systems in Escambia County. We will track progress towards achieving these goals through 2 key performance indicators. The first is the number of professional learning hours by team members. Our target is 40 hours per staff member, and I believe that's annually. Our data source is a continuing education tracking spreadsheet maintained by the Director of Finance and Operations, and we will report this semi-annually to the Personnel Committee. The second key performance indicator is active participation in strategic conversations about the well-being of children and families in Escambia County. Our target is to have representation at 90% of intermediary organizations. Our data source is the intermediary organization tracking spreadsheet maintained by the Director of Finance and Operations, and we will report this semi-annually to the Personnel Committee.
Area of focus number 4 is community education and coordination. Escambia Children's Trust will support the convening and connection of capacity building of high-quality children's programs and services. We will achieve this through educating and empowering advocates of the Children's Trust mission, facilitating community-based collaboration, and supporting innovative capacity building programs. We will measure and track the progress of achieving these goals by looking at the number of funded programs specifying collaboration as part of a delivery of service delivery. Our target is 20% annual increase over years 1 baseline. The data source is SAMUS Partners in Service Delivery Report, and we'll report on this annually.
Area of strategic focus number 5 is operational excellence. Escambia Children's Trust will support performance tied to organizational growth and development. We will achieve this by standardizing the organization's structures, roles, and responsibilities, streamlining and documenting internal processes, and ensuring transparent and sustainable financial management. We will track progress toward achieving these goals through 2 key performance indicators. The first is the community perception of stability and competence. Our target is a 15% annual increase over year 1 baseline of community perception of stability and competence. Our data source is the Community Perception Survey, and we'll report on this semi-annually. Second key performance indicator is the availability of funds to support ongoing financial obligations. Our target is 100% of financial obligations are met, and our data sources are monthly financial statements and renewed contracts, and we will report on this monthly.
Area of strategic focus number 6 is public engagement and advocacy. Escambia Children's Trust will build a community of advocates. We will achieve this through implementing an integrated communication strategy, enhancing citizen engagement, capturing and sharing inspirational stories, and promoting transparency in communications. We will track progress toward achieving these goals through 2 key performance indicators. The first is community engagement. Our target is a 30% increase annually over the 2023 baseline. Our data source is the Brand Intelligence Report. We will measure this quarterly and report annually. The second key performance indicator is brand net sentiment. Our target is a 10% increase annually over the 2023 baseline. Our data source is the Brand Intelligence Report. We will measure this quarterly and report annually.
So just a word that this is the above-the-line plan. This sets a framework for further development. We have provided, through the work of the staff, the objective statements to the committees. As you bring in your new executive director, it's going to be extremely important for him or her to work with those objectives and develop those action plans, since that person will be responsible for leading that. But the committees have been given the objective statements, again, with the new director coming in to help further ensure that he or she can stand behind whatever it is put into the objectives. So through this From the Core process, we have shaped the ECT story and provided a path forward by bridging the story and strategy through the integral strategic plan. As the new executive director comes on board, that person will have an understanding of what is important to this community and to the board. So there will be a runway, if you will, for that person to come on board. I would strongly recommend it as you interview for this person that you share this vision with the new director. Will give that person a sense, I think, of stability and clarity that will be necessary as he or she moves forward. So again, like I said, the next step under the new director will be the building out of those objectives and the development of a one-year action plan. As the plan is implemented into operations, it is extremely important that that continuous improvement process be put into place. No plan is perfect, no matter how much work goes into them. So as you implement, you will review, you will execute, you review, and you will adjust. Because as we all know, the world does not stand still while we're implementing a plan. So this plan is built on the foundation of the idea and the concept of continuous improvement. So, on behalf of ID Group, our research and strategy team, Jim, Christine Deckard, who is not here today, but was part of the process, and of course our management team who kept this process going. I feel like I'm at the front of the airplane. And we want to thank you for flying with us today. But we do. There was a lot of work, and I really appreciate everyone's work that went into this. I also want to say thank you to you, the board, the staff, the team here, for giving us a chance to do what we believe is extremely important work for our community. This has been a journey for us of inspiration. There have been some high points and some challenges, but I also want to commend you and this team for holding the course, for not stepping back and to push forward when things got a little rocky. I hope you are as happy as we are with where we've landed. I do believe, again, it is the beginning of great work for this new executive director with a lot of good information. So the executive director will have access to all the data that we provided, all the insights that we've done, so that it will be fully open to that person, because we want them to be very, very successful. So I want to close this presentation with one of my favorite quotes. It's in the document. There are some people who see things as they are and ask why. We choose to see things as they can be and ask why not. That is the ultimate challenge, to look beyond the obstacles to see the opportunities. So there's a lot of great work to be done here, many opportunities. Our mantra through this process, you've probably heard us say it, is failure is not an option. I hope you will continue to trust this process and to embrace all the opportunities that are in front of us. I truly believe the children in this community are depending on your leadership, and I believe this community needs to completely back you as you step forward in doing and realizing this great vision. So thank you. I appreciate your time, and again, thank you for trusting us. So I'll take any questions.
Yeah, I have one, and just want to compliment you on your hard work and research. And just out of curiosity, doing your research and looked at your organizational life cycle, and what point are we at in the life cycle? Because I have a follow-up question to that. What in that life cycle where we
Yeah. We view it as an infancy.
Infancy.
You have a lot of characteristics. We work with a lot of organizations, and we work with, I was telling somebody through this process, like startups. The difference between you and a startup is you have a little money. A lot of startups don't have the money. But psychologically and developmentally, you're still trying to get that foundation straight. And that's why I said it's so important for this organization to get these foundational pieces in the strategic plan solid, so that you can move it forward. It's when that solid piece is not there of the organization development that things can falter.
Yeah, and my question is comparative to other cities who have the trust. How do we compare with how we?
And I'm going to talk, but I believe you guys are the youngest trust. Help me out in the state. In Leon. So all of those organizations are. I have not worked with them, and maybe Kim or any of you guys can give a little bit more insight, but I will guarantee you, in 30 years of doing organization development work, if you don't get the foundation right, you won't get anything right. So I don't have insight into their work, but I did talk with some of the more advanced ones, and they're clicking, right? They've got their systems right, process right, structures right, they're communicating well, all the things that are foundational in your plan. They're doing.
Okay. Well, and the reason I was asking that is because I was wondering, the term that y'all used was opportunity gap, and in the education system we use achievement gap, and I was just wondering, from their standpoint, did they close that opportunity gap, and how soon did it happen? So, and if you don't have that information,
I would probably venture to tell you the answer would be that the gap is not closed. I would venture to say that they are in the process of closing the gap.
Okay.
As you know, as an educator,
It takes a while.
it takes a while. And we are, as schools are, I always say, microcosms of society.
Right.
And as we look at societal challenges, you look at all kinds of challenges.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you. I know it's been a lot of work. The staff has done a great job with getting you guys information and working together. So I think this plan is beautiful. It's been a lot of work, and I'm excited to implement it and help our community.
Thank you, and thank you for your help.
Any other questions? So now for an official recommendation, the staff recommends the board approve the strategic plan as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The strategic plan is approved. We are moving on to the interim executive director's report. Ms. Abram?
Thank you. Let me get over to it real quick. Yeah. Okay, again, I want to start off with a mission moment. We'll update this slide, but I don't ever want to forget what our mission is, why we are here. And the mission is that all children in Escambia County will have better lives and greater opportunities for success because of the work of the Trust and its partners. That's the whole reason any of us are here. Now, on October 1st, we did sign 5 contracts for mental health support and the match contract. What'd I do? Thank you. So October 1st, we had 5 executed contracts for the mental health supports, and the match contract for Early Learning Coalition were executed. SAMHSA trainings for the Early Learning Coalition and the mental health support providers have been held. The clinic at Pine Forest High School held an open house to the public, which Mike and Rick attended. It was very nice. Lamplighters, Brian Freeman, had an interview with Rick Otson that highlighted Project Pride that we're funding. And it was a very good interview. If you guys get a chance, you should listen to it, and we can forward you the link if you need it. We have up-to-date information on the Trust Facebook page about these and other community events that are ongoing. Now, just a quick update on our executive director search. We posted the listing on our Indeed account, on LinkedIn, on our website, and on Facebook. As of yesterday, we had received over 250 applications, but as of this morning, we need to update that to 300. And the postings are scheduled to run until October 20th. Carolyn Appleyard is receiving the resumes and compiling a list of all the applicants, where the applications came from, and if they were accompanied by a cover letter or not. On today's agenda, it is requested that the board appoint the search committee and set up the roles and guidelines that you want the committee to take in the search and review of the applicants. Our office move has been delayed. The school will be doing their open house for their new building on October 31st, and then they'll start moving their staff out of old building number 1, where we're going to be moving into. So it's been delayed until the end of November or sometime in December, depending on the college. We received 1 response to our audit RFP, and that's on your agenda today to review. And then another agenda item today is that a member of our trust is supposed to sit on the Early Learning Coalition's board of directors. Tammy Greer was the one sitting there for us. So you can temporarily appoint me or another staff member or someone else to represent us until the new executive director is hired, or you can leave it vacant, although that is not preferred. Okay. And just one more thing, I am working on an agenda item cover sheet that will give you a brief synopsis of the items in the agenda, the financial impact to the trust, and whether or not it's been reviewed by legal, and the expected impact for the community. So I will bring that forward to the executive committee for review and approval when that's done. And then just our important dates. October 31st, we have a finance committee meeting at 8 a.m. with executive committee meeting immediately afterwards. And November 14th is the next ECT board meeting at 5:30. So please let Alma know if you'll be in attendance at those meetings. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Oh, I've got one question. When you say required to sit on the board, is that in statute or how, is it, okay, so we have
It's
to
in
act.
statute. If we
Okay.
have a trust, somebody has to sit on their board.
All right.
Thank you. Am I at? I am. Sorry, Tammy. Thank you. We are now, and now before we move on to the business of the board, are there any public comments regarding the action items? No public comment. We're moving on to the executive director search. I know Tammy just mentioned the majority, most of this, that as of the 12th, at the 12th board meeting, the board was asked to bring names of individuals to serve on the application vetting committee. Ms. Alma, if you would do a roll call and collect the recommendations from each board member.
You've got the list there. There are only a couple that I've not received nominations from.
Do you
You
want
want me
to?
to come get it?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Harris, do you have anyone to nominate for the Executive Director Vetting Committee? No. And David Williams, I know you're brand new on it,
Yes.
but
Could I have some grace there? I could,
And
if the end of the day or tomorrow, I could email your name.
okay, and I do know that Patty has been nominated and accepted by Tori,
Okay,
so we do have, her on there. Yep, just get it to me.
I'll get it to you. Thank you.
Is that all? So, you said you'll get her the contact information by tomorrow. Now that we have a vetting committee, the executive committee would like to clarify the role of the vetting committee. What we have and what we talked about was the role of the committee is to review the applications and present the top 10 recommendations to the board. Are there any questions regarding the vetting committee's role?
Excuse me, Madam Chair, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
We do have to name the committee today.
Okay,
So we won't be able to take anything later, but we've got 6.
6.
So if you all are okay with that.
Can we read them? I mean, can you read them and tell us who?
So I have Tori Woods, recommended Patty Hightower. David Peden, recommended Pastor Marcel Davis. Stephanie White, recommended Carol Appleyard. Dr. Northup, recommended Ted Kirscher. Commissioner May, recommended Reggie Dogan. And Keith Leonard, recommended Kelly Crosstag. So if the board's okay with that, then we'll just get an approval for the vetting committee.
so we need to make a recommendation to approve the vetting committee. Can I get a recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So now that we have established the vetting committee, the executive committee would like to clarify the role. So what we talked about for the role was to reviewing the applications and presenting the top 10 recommendations to the board. Are there any questions regarding the role of the vetting committee?
Mike, when did they get this back to us? The top 10? Do we have a timeline?
We don't have a timeline yet, that's something we have to establish.
Miss,
Yes, ma'am.
Out so that you all could see where we're moving. Closing date for the applications is noon next Friday, that's the 20th. We're getting about 25 a day, mainly from Indeed. And okay, so then what we had proposed was this team, the vetting team, would meet on October 26th. I would like Meredith to explain to all of us what some of the sunshine implications are for this piece of it. I'm not going to, she's going to explain that. And then we had proposed a called board meeting for you all to say, of these 10, who would you like to interview? 2, 3, whatever that number is. Try to have those interviews on November 7th with a name to be recommended by October 14th, your next board meeting. So it's a very aggressive timeframe, but with the volume of applications we have and the interest and the need, I think we can get it done. But I think the sunshine piece is very important, so.
Sure, I'm happy to. So the vetting committee would be a sunshine committee, much like you guys are. All communication amongst the members of the committee must occur only in the sunshine. at a publicly noticed meeting. So, and that rule would also apply to any communication between those members of that committee and you as board members. No calls, no texts concerning the matter of the nomination or the selection of the person. The meetings would have to be publicly noticed and advertised, open to the public, and minutes taken of the meetings. So the standard sunshine regulations apply both to the communication and conversation of the committee members amongst themselves and between the committee and this board. And I'm happy to take any questions.
I don't have any questions on that, but on the November 7th, can we see who will be in town, who wants to be on there? Because I know I have a flight that leaves at noon that day, so,
I'm out of town too.
okay.
It doesn't matter to me what those dates are. I don't know if I'm the chairman of this committee or what, but I will continue to push for progress. I know that.
If we could schedule a date as soon as possible, so I know that we have at least quorum, or whoever wants to be there to help interview would be great.
I'll send out a doodle poll and see where we can get the largest turnout.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Meredith, can I ask a question so that we are all on the same page? None of us should speak to applicants after today. Is that correct?
So I think procedurally that's correct. I don't know that that's necessarily a sunshine issue.
Oh, okay, okay.
But correct. The role of the committee, as I understand it, would be to simply review and come up with the 10 names to be presented to this board. Those 10 names would, I suppose, then be contacted for interviews or whatever the process, the next step in the process would be.
Okay.
Good.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions?
So how do I contact these committee members, or who does that? Do we put that back on Alma? Okay, good, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
If we're not sure, if you're not clear if you're going to be the chairperson, I'd recommend that Carolyn is the chairperson of this advisory committee.
I agree.
Now, if that's in form of a motion.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Ms. Carolyn. Next, we have Ms. Abram to discuss the audit services.
Thank you. We did receive one proposal to our RFP for audit services. It's in your packet. It's from Warren Everett. They are a large national firm with a local branch. The price was very good. It's right in line with where we paid last year and what should be expected. So I am recommending the approval to allow me to enter into contract negotiation with Warren Everett for the audit for this year, with a 2-year optional renewal.
I make a motion to accept Warren Everett as the auditor of the Escambia Children's Trust.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I was going to ask whether we were going to be using the Cayman Island office, and if y'all were looking for volunteers to go down there.
Well, for about the next 4 months, you can contact me there.
Just with that, it's tough to find auditors. I'm glad we do have somebody in the community that, at this time, that applied for it. I know that all the auditing firms were contacted and had an opportunity to respond. So, thank you.
Yes, thank you. So now we are moving on to the additional duties. Kim and Ms. Tammy, would you like to explain or elaborate on this agenda item?
We had previously gotten a position approved for the Program and Quality Assurance Specialist. With the hiring freeze on, we were not able to fill that position. So we are looking at taking some of the duties from this job that Kim's going to be doing and some of the duties from this job Alma would be doing. So we're looking to add duties onto Alma's position, which is basically the file checklist that is attached to the back of the right behind the program, right behind your board liaison administrative assistant. So she would be going out to the different provider sites, going through their files, making sure our logo's displayed, all the things that don't have to do with quality that Kim Krupa is going to be doing. Kim will be doing that. Are they making the impact they said? Are they hitting their performance measures? But Alma would be doing the file check, making sure the insurance is there, that we're listed as additional insured, those type of items. So we are looking to add those duties onto her for now. And when we get the new executive director and they do a staffing evaluation, then the determination on what to do with this position, the program and quality assurance specialist, will be made, and whether or not those duties become permanent. So I am asking for permission to increase her salary for those additional duties and to add those duties to her job description for now.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question, I guess, for both of you ladies. Alma and Tammy is looking at adding additional duties to an individual always concerns me, or at least makes me pause to reflect on that, of whether that is going to be something that you both feel is doable from your perspective.
I've actually, since I've been here, I've been able to really streamline the board process.
Okay.
So I do have some time freed up, and I don't think it's going to be a problem at all. It'll be a lot to do to start with, because we've got such a small amount of time to get this first group done. But going forward, I think it'll easily be able to be worked in.
My question is just, what's the percentage of increase? How much increase?
So currently, that job is at $49,900, and we're looking to increase it to $62,400. Let me get the page up exactly. It was about 25% of what the job itself is, that own position. So we're looking to increase it to $62,400.
And one more question, I'm sorry. Is this permanent or temporary?
That would be decided by when the new executive director comes on.
Okay, thank you.
Right now, it would be a temporary until we get somebody in place.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. So now we have the Early Learning Coalition Board Position Team. I know you spoke on this earlier. Would you please? Thank you.
Yes, I just need to know if you guys wanted to nominate me to be on the Early Learning Coalition Board for now, or if somebody else wanted to do it. So,
I would like to nominate Ms. Abrams.
thank you.
Second.
Any questions, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ms. Abram, thank you. Now we're moving on to the vice chair nomination. With the departure of Ms. Hightower, the board is now without a vice chair. I would like to open the floor for nominations for the vice chair position that will serve for the remainder of 2023. Are there any nominations? Don't all jump, first. Raise your hand. Nominations?
Nominate David Williams.
Any other nominations?
Mr. Williams, are you agreeable or acceptive to that nomination?
Yes, I am, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other nominations? If not, is there?
Second.
Yes, we have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We have Mr. Williams nominated for vice chair. Welcome, first day. Jumping right in, right?
You're welcome.
You don't get to be chair until at least your second meeting.
Next on the agenda are the committee appointments. Ms. Tina came on board a few months ago and has agreed to serve on the Policy and Bylaws Committee. At this time, I would like to formally appoint her to the committee. Mr. Williams, you have the opportunity to review the committees, and are there any interests that you are willing to serve on?
The one that met today, was that the program
Program.
committee? The
Program committee?
Yes.
And one final note regarding committees, we would like one more person to serve on the Finance Operations Committee. And our bylaws call for a committee of 5 individuals, so we are one short. Are there any volunteers? Ms. Alma has the list.
Currently on finance, we have David Peden Chair, Tori Woods, and Stephanie White. So I need 2 more.
So we need 2 more.
You takers? Dr. Northup?
I'll be willing to serve.
Okay.
Thank you.
And David. Thank you.
We have no action items under programs. Ms. Bush, did you have anything to report? I do want to say thank you. I know I sit on the meetings with the staff, and you've been doing a great job with helping them to, go through and review the contracts and, figure out what we need to do to, make sure that everyone is doing what they're supposed to do. So thank you again for that. Are there any public comments regarding non-action items? Were you able to fill out a form?
I didn't fill out a form, I'm sorry, it just came out real quick.
Can I say your name?
Hey, I'm Gary Holloway with the University of West Florida, representing the College of Health. And one of the questions that I had was about the vetting committee that wasn't out, the 6 members of that vetting committee. I know that you guys had talked about them or going into like the sunshine law information. Are we going to get the qualifications, like the names, will those be published so that we can look and see the 6 people, kind of what their qualifications are? It seems like they have a pretty big responsibility in choosing the 10 applicants to present to you. And I recognize some of the names from the 6 that were mentioned, but some of them I didn't. And so I just wanted to know, is that going to be something that comes up on record so that we can see if it's just like 6 people that were plucked, like this is a friend of mine, this is my neighbor, so that we can kind of see that ultimate responsibility of presenting those 10 top applicants to you to interview.
I can tell you straight right now, the one that I appointed, Kelly Crosstag, is the Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources with our school district.
Correct.
Very well qualified.
Yeah.
I would say just get a resume of each of them, ask them for a bio or resume, and put it on our website, and if that will work, or email it to them as well with that information in there.
That would be great, just to see what the qualifications are. I'd appreciate it. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then we have a form for him to fill out. Mr. Alma. Thank you.
And along those lines of the committee volunteering and whatever, Rick or whomever, would it be possible to have you all update the committee membership on our website? Because I use that as much as anyone, perhaps more, to look and see which committees I'm supposed to participate in and things. That would be wonderful. Thank you. And maybe these.
Thank you. Any board comments?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I've got one for Mrs. Hightower, who's not here today, who served this board since its inception. I'd like to see if we can recognize her at the next meeting with a token of our appreciation. She was played a key role in her insight, knowledge, attention to detail, and she was a very good board member for this organization. So, thank you.
I agree, 1,000%. Any other board comment? If not, we can adjourn at 10:09. Thank you.
Thank you.